Now, I got this for some woodworking projects, working on the lathe, as well as kind of thinking about doing some gun stocks and just some odds and ends. Um, that is pretty gritty. So it doesn't say on there what grit that is. Maybe all it has is 36 grit. Who knows? Instructions. I don't need no stinking instructions. So I'm thinking this right here will be, um, okay, so it's a slide lock. That's nice. That I hope can be, oh, well, no, that's not good. Oh, maybe maybe that locks it. Yeah. Okay. So that'll lock it, and apparently you can, oh no. Now it's pretty dark. Well, no, okay. That doesn't unlock. So I don't know. That's goobericious. That's going to be the tensioner for the belt. And okay, so maybe, okay, so you got to fiddle with this button to get it to come around, and then it doesn't lock good. Oh no, it's almost like that'll come. You know what? I think I'm going to end up needing the instructions. And it's really bad if you need the instructions for a device like this, because it shouldn't need instructions at all. So this is a basically the body is exactly like a side grinder or an angle grinder or whatever you want to call it. You got screw attachments on each side, which are actually at probably maybe a 40-degree angle coming out. It's not 90, maybe 80 degree. I don't know what you would. It's about like that, coming out. So that's kind of weird. I guess it would be for using it like this. But the body is exactly like angle grinder, and um, the lock button is reminiscent to an angle grinder in the way that it functions as well. So I think they just put this head on that body, and I'm a little concerned about the head because you can see how I move it, and every time it gets to a stop point, that's why it was hanging up. Push it in, and it spins good. Now, normally this would lock the head up from turning on an angle grinder, but apparently it unlocks it so you can spin it round and round with no problems. Because it kind of catches until you push it in. That's weird. Okay, so I don't know if this head comes off. Okay, you're going to look at this for a minute while I look at the instructions. So this is stupid. Okay, so this is from Harbor Freight, and this is a message to Harbor Freight. You should really check your stuff out before you start selling it, because this Bauer is a bummer. Seriously. I may just take this thing back. I don't know. uh, because that head should not be flopping around on there like that. I get here, we got a tensioner here. Okay, I can, you know, kind of bring that up, and then the head's just flopping all over the place on there, uh, and that's doing nothing at all, not even remotely. So the instructions tell you nothing about the button. The parts list calls it a spindle lock, which is what it would be on a grinder that would lock the spindle for you to change the heads. But it apparently does nothing. So they literally took a grinder body, all the stuff with parts. I guess they disabled this because it's not needed with this assembly, and put this head on it, which is really kind of disheartening. Uh, it pops into that spot right there, okay? But it doesn't lock into it. Tighten this up, and then it's locked into it here. That'll loosen that up. And here you can set your tension, I assume. Yeah. So what this is doing is it's setting this in and out. And what that's going to do is keep this belt tracking center. So you'll adjust this. It doesn't tension anything or otherwise, but basically you'll run it and you'll adjust this knob right here, which will keep this belt tracking center. When you got the belt tracking center, leave the knob alone and you're all set. Which this right here is the tensioner, which you'll do that, loosens your belt where you can take it off. I guess you would undo this part, and then you can just pull your belt off, put another belt on, put this shield back on again, and let off on it, and it's back in business. So this right here, turn it, push the button in, you feel it pop in there, but it's still spinning. So it is stiffer. It's not as easy to spin, but it spins. Here it spins smoother. Lock in, that's what you expect on a grinder, but I'm still turning it. So let's get into this top. It gave me a Allen wrench for some reason. Which this Allen head screw is crooked, not screwed in there straight. So, okay, so see there it is stopping the spindle. It's just not stopping the belt. And the belt's just sliding on here. Okay, so that is a spindle lock to stop this, which I don't see any possible use for it on this setup. This screw is crooked in here, so it was tapped in crooked, or when they screwed it in, they didn't pay no attention to how they were screwing it in, and they got it in there crooked. So chances are it's probably stripped crooked. So I'm just going to keep putting it in crooked. Guess if it eventually come down to it, I'd just retap it or something. I don't know. But I really don't like this flippy floppy head. I seriously don't like that. I mean, I'm going to want to push it together and tighten it up. And it seems to be all like it needs to be, which I don't know. This right here was like $54 at Harbor Freight. I had a gift cards from Christmas that I finally used, and so I don't know. I mean, I may have to just, like I said, I may have to just bring this back and exchange it for another one because it's just ain't this ain't right. That's just too loose. I'll tell you what. I may watch some YouTube videos and see what other people say about if they figured out anything with why that head's so loose on there, and I may pull it apart again and take a look at it. But uh, I mean, hopefully it'll work. I mean, I've been wanting to get something like this. I know they had a air belted sander, and I want to be able to use this in the house and not just out in the shop. And I don't have my shop air working right at the moment, so I didn't want to get it. And so this is the one I got. And the like I said, what I want to try to do is a little bit of work in tight spots on potentially stocks, knife scales, grips. Um, I'm working on some wood projects out there on the lathe, and a lighter sanded belt would really help out to speed the process up on that. So we'll see. May try to do some hands-on testing. Let's just plug it in and let's see what it kind of does here. Okay, so as you can see, this adjusts the tracking on the belt. This does lock the spindle, but you can still turn the belt. I mean, I don't know. It's like useless. I guess that's why it's not even mentioned in the instructions, because this was a grinder body, and that part is not needed for this assembly to do any part of it, because here's your tensioner that'll allow you to change it out. And so there's no need for that. But I don't like the way that is so loose. I'm going to open this up again and just look in there while we're filming, because yeah, I mean, there's just no. So let's see something here. I mean, I can't for the life of me see a reason that you would want any kind of floppiness in that head there. And I would literally expect that head to just be a smooth, I don't know, 180 or whatever is needed. Okay, so this is really, in my opinion, a good point of failure. And that's why you have that issue of being loose on the head. So this is just a rubberized insert that is screwed onto the head of what is a grinder. And this attachment right here mates to these slots and turns, and it ride these nubs here ride in this center groove. So you turn them at just the right spot and the whole head comes off. Which, I mean, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but I would expect it to only make alignment in one spot that's marked, turn it here and the head pops off. Because I can really seriously see that you're up here trying to adjust this thing and the whole head pops off in your hand. I understand you got a belt on here, but then again, these are going to break. And then you're trying to adjust this thing around and you end up, just it's I don't know. That's just a bad design, in my opinion. Seems like the 12 o'clock position, it pops out, and I'll show you why in just a second, but then you get over here is where it comes off. So it does only allow by the degree that these are locked into this collar and into here in this collar. This bell here has to be in this position to be removed, but at the same time you've got these here that are coming into contact at, let's see, up here. So you've got this one that comes in alignment on this side, and this one comes into alignment probably, yeah, perfectly. So both of these little stubs right here are in alignment with these two slots right here when it's in the forward position, which is where you would use it most. So right here, which, I mean, you would use it at an angle like that, and it's trying to come off. And so all you have is this ones down here that happen to, one of them is actually probably in alignment here, but not in alignment here. So I don't know, that design is very, very not good. So you would really want to put it at an angle just slightly offset so that it's not, it's not actually lined up with any of those little slots that allow you to pull that head off. So that's just not good, because there's going to be times that you're going to be using this thing at just the right angle, and it's just not going to be on that head very, very securely. And so I just feel like that's bad mojo there. Bad mojo. So this is your lockup. So this little piece right here will slide through there. This right here comes down and puts, let's see if I can show you. It's going to put tension on the bottom, and you'll see how that's pushing up into this little sleeve right here. So you back it up, that backs up behind that, and so it's no longer proud of that slot, and so it doesn't press up against this shoulder right here. And so that's how this whole head assembly works. In all honesty, I would think, I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know what would be the perfect hookup here, but that is not it. I don't like that at all. So it's not defective. That's the way it's made. So I guess as long as it works, I won't bring it back. But that, you shouldn't have that. So I definitely give this. See, right there, comes completely out at that angle. And chances are you won't be using it at that angle. But you'll be using it that, I would be using it at that angle a lot. And that's just, straight out. And that's just not good. All through here is fine. Yeah, that's not bad. But then you get to the, what would for me be the most used angle, and it's like the head's trying to come off of it. And then back through here is fine till it does literally come off. So I had to put it at a slightly uncomfortable angle, or just overshot maybe. I just have to watch it. you know, not to put it at that spot right there. I don't think it'll come off, but you know, basically, you're going to have these. You're going to have these little ears, which this is pot metal. I mean, that's die cast. That's not any real serious metal. This is aluminum here, or I don't know, metal. I think it's aluminum. But these are just little pot metal ears on there. And I could very easily see this right here shearing off over time of me sitting here and using it for a long period of time, not realizing it, putting pressure on it, basically wearing that ear off. Literally, and if that happens, what I'll wind up doing is taking and shearing all of, maybe just finishing it off and putting a screw. Just tap the collar, put a hole through here, and just a screw that will go into place at a different, I don't know, maybe a couple of them here and here and maybe here. And it's not, it won't be anything that tightens anything up. All it'd be is just the head of a screw that sticks in there and takes the place of this this little ear right here. And I may do that anyway. I may add one at the very top up here so that it's not in alignment with any slot. And so what I would end up doing was backing it up, take the screw out, then I can take it off. Which, I mean, I won't. I don't have a reason to take it off. But anyway, just my observance. I don't think that's a very good design. I think that is very ungood. If you want to look at it that way, I don't think that's a very positive way of installing that head on that piece. Seriously don't like that, but it is what it is. We're gonna see how well it works. May take and kind of, you'll see it in a video, and I may talk about it a little bit. We get it in a video and try it out, possibly on the current project I've got on the lathe out there. Got storms coming this weekend, so I don't know if I'm gonna see. That screw right there is just boogered up too. I mean, this is Harbor Freight. This is, and Bauer is supposed to be a better quality, you know, in the Harbor Freight line. See, it's trying to come off. It would come off except the belt's on it. Bauer is supposed to be a higher quality in the Harbor Freight line, but this quality right here kind of brings me back to the cheap Harbor Freight junk. That's what comes to mind. This is definitely not $54 worth in my opinion. Now this seems like it's pretty solid. I mean, there's nothing wrong with it, but this lockup right here, that is bad. I don't like that. I think you figured that out though. That's probably obvious. That is by no means needs to stay with it. Just throw this in here. Looks like it's a lighter grit than that, or a higher grit than what that is, but we'll just keep it in here with the kit. So, my initial thoughts on this purchase right here is I'm not happy with it. Not really happy with I think I'll be happy with the tool. Knowing what I know, put me a screw in there to account for that loose head, and I think it'll work just great. And so I may end up being happy with the tool, but I'm not happy with the tool out the box at $54. You know, I'm not happy with that. Looks fine. It's got probably more weight than I would want it to have in this type of tool, because I have a lot of hand fatigue holding this for long periods of time. But I've held grinders for long periods of time, and they were heavier and fine, so I don't think that's that big a deal. But trying it and using it, that's going to tell the tale. But again, be careful about that head. If you get one of these to use, do definitely watch for that head. Make sure that you put it in there solid, lock this up, and everything should be fine. Should hold it in place and everything be good. But like I said, I'm definitely gonna get in here and probably drill it and tap a little small screw to go straight in the top, and then that way, even out here, it'll be a good solid lockup and stay right there. You know, you can see there's a slight gap, which doesn't matter because the shaft goes in there far enough. But maybe I'm being picky, but at this price point, I think it should be a better lockup on that head. So, appreciate you watching, and now you know, if you're going to go spend $54 on one of these from Harbor Freight, you know what you're getting. Your time is very important to me, and I thank you for spending it here with me. Thanks, and God bless.